The red lights are on at the moment, but very soon they will turn out and the race will get underway. And it is Shane Stoney who makes a good start. Leon Morel trying to follow him through on the inside line. Philip Brown in the red car trying to go around the outside of both of them, actually. And he might well have the lead as they head up towards the banking for the first time. You see, it is the red car of Brown that gets the lead. Stoney is still just about in second place, but he thinks going to lose that to Leon Morel as they turn through that hairpin and down towards Church Corner. So not a great restart for Shane Stoney. And he's dropping further back down the order, so he's got a problem. Yeah, Shane Stoney's car is broken, I think. So from pole position to the back of the field he goes. Let's just hope he can get it off the circuit and into the pit lane rather than stopping on the side of the track. This for the lead. Leon Morel up on the inside of Philip Brown at Rocket. He takes the lead away, Andy.
Wow, supremely late on the brakes there for Leon Morel. I thought he was guaranteed to overshoot the corner, but no, got it stopped, got through the corner, absolutely okay. Now, Shane Stoney, by the way, had just enough power in his car to make it halfway up the school straight and then pulled off onto the access road. So his car's out of the way. We should be good to continue racing without the need of a safety car, which is good news for us and brilliant news for Leon Morel, who already, Ian, is starting to make his escape.
Certainly is, and he's up and over the line now to complete the first lap, and already he's got a gap of 1.6 seconds over Philip Brown in second place from the rolling start, a 1:11.088. For context, the lap record for his class, Class B, a 1:04.83 set by Joe Stables just over 5 years ago. So we'll see if Leon Morel can trouble those kind of lap times as this race goes on, but you can see he is pulling away from Brown in second place, and there's Stoney's car, and as Andy said, he's pulled off it on the sort of access road out of harm's way, we would think, so the race should be able to continue. There you can just about see where the car is. Shouldn't be too much of a problem there. As we're watching the number 19 car, that's Jamie Keevil heading through Rocket with Doug Carter just behind him in number 5.
Yes, Doug Carter, who has been racing radicals for a long, long time, hasn't he? Often that little PR6, which you'd think is pretty well suited to the Anglesey circuit even, being very small and nimble and agile through the technical sections. So this next sequence of corners down through the corkscrew you would imagine would favour him. Behind, though, similar car of Larkham under real pressure, isn't he, for 6th position. That's actually probably the best of the battles right now, is that 6th place squabble. Larkham just about ahead of the 57 of Pedro Oliveira, who started from the back row of the grid. There he is in the Mattel, and he has rocketed through the order, 7th at the moment, but challenging for 6th as they head for the banking.
Yeah, that's right. You can see he's got the novice cross on the back of his car as well, as a few of the competitors have actually. Some of them are a bit difficult to spot because they're on the underside of Wiggins, but that indicates that they are less experienced in car racing. So there's Larkham, who leads the Class A Championship coming into this weekend, the driver from Northern Ireland, a regular in the Kirkeston Northern Ireland Road Sports Championship, but he's done all of the bike sports rounds so far this year in his radical. We're going to get a change there. Owen Miles Drew trying to go round the outside of Pedro Oliveira at the second part of Rocket, and I think he gets a better exit from the corner, and he is able to pull away then in his radical ahead of the Mattel, which seems to be a little bit ill-handling at the moment for Pedro Oliveira. He is dropping down then to 8th position.
Yeah, so just as I thought he was going to gain a place, ended up losing one then, and Pedro Oliveira drops down a position overall, but as you said, not within class, because Miles Drew is running within Class B. There through the first corner, at target comes the 3rd, 4th, 5th placed group, and this is a battle for class lead, isn't it then, with Fido leading in Class A, James Keevil and Doug Carter both in the same class as well, and I'd say that James Keevil is a little bit closer this time around, heading through Church Corner, and has a good run off Church Corner as well, so I think we might be about to see a challenge for the class lead here as they head up the school straight. Is he going to be close enough into the braking zone? He's closing all of the time in the slipstream, dives to the inside line, late on the brakes, but ultimately not quite late enough.
No, great little battle going on here. As you say, Doug Carter at the back of this group, all 3 of them in the same class as well. That's Class A, but it's Andy Fido who is at the head of the group at the moment. The 61-year-old garage and body shop owner from Western Supermare, been racing in bike sports since 2020, did some karting back in the 1970s, and this is the ex-Charles Adrian car that he races, run by RJ Motorsport. So he, at the moment, is in 3rd position and the class lead as well. He's got Jamie Keevil behind him. We've also seen out sometimes in swinging 60s races with the Classic Sports Car Club in his father's Lotus. And Doug Carter as well raced in the RGB Championship with the 750 Motor Club for quite a few years, and then switched to bike sports and has been a regular in that PR6, the Cumbrian, for quite some time. Here's the challenge from Keyville down into Church Corner. Looks like he's going to get the class lead away from Andy Fido, and he's done it. So number 19, Jamie Keyville, goes through to the class lead.
Yeah, had a much better run off the banking, got to the inside into Church, made the move stick, and now Doug Carter wants to try and do the same thing in the PR6. Can't get to the inside line though into Rocket because Andrew Fido just had that line covered, so at least successfully defends second position in class, but has now, as you said, lost the class lead to James Keyville. Keyville in qualifying was ninth fastest overall, so actually a little bit slower than Fido, but as Ian said earlier on, that was in damp and slippery conditions. In the dry now, though, it does look like James Keyville has the advantage, and actually Fido starting to struggle now as we move into the second half of this restarted race.
That's right. Jamie Keyville there in the ex-Robert Rees car. I think he's another driver run by RJ Motorsport as well. Here's another little battle. Stephen Larkham with Miles Drew and Pedro Oliveira. So Larkham and Oliveira both Class A drivers. Miles Drew in the middle of them is one of the Class B protagonists, and he's been a regular in this championship for some time in his Radical SR3 RSX, the driver from Nottinghamshire. And he's stuck in between the two cars with central seat driving positions, the Radical PR6 of Larkham, the Mattel as well of Pedro Oliveira. Meanwhile, Doug Carter still trying to get Andy Fido's fourth place overall, second place within Class A away. Can't quite make that work yet. They're up at Rocket Corner now. And actually that next little group, headed by Larkham, is not too far behind them, is it?
No, not really. If these two start battling, that could bring Stephen Larkham into play, and that would then put him in contention for a class podium, wouldn't it? Because he's in the same class, Class A, same class as the cars directly ahead. Drop down then through the corkscrew there. You can see Keyville getting away. Carter just showing his nose a little bit more now, isn't he? He can probably see that next group behind getting closer and closer by the corner and wants to make this move as soon as he can. But there are only a couple of locations really around the Anglesey Coastal Circuit at which you can realistically make a pass, and I'm just not convinced that that PR6 is quick enough in a straight line to make a move up at Rocket. If he's going to do it, then it begins here potentially with a good run off the banking. Behind there was some side-by-side action. Now that is Miles Drew and Stephen Larkham going at it again. Miles Drew trying to nip up the inside into Church and sort of forces Larkham into taking a wide line, so they will be side-by-side off the corner. The inside line at the top of the hill should belong to Drew. Here meanwhile comes around the outside Doug Carter for second place in class. Did he make that one stick? The answer out of the window I can tell you is no. Ian, it's all going on behind them. I think we are going to see a positional change. No, not quite as they head through Rocket.
No, but it is very close indeed between those three cars. That's Larkham, Drew and Oliveira. They're not too far behind Fido and Carter. There you can see all five of them in the same shot. Look at the car of Miles Drew just sliding around. That's not supposed to happen with a Radical quite like that. It's certainly spectacular to watch though. Dropping down through the corkscrew towards the end of lap number 7 of the race. Leon Morel's already completed lap 7, by the way. He's nearly 5.5 seconds ahead of everybody else now, and he's done a best lap of the race for 1:06.701. But just focusing in on this battle once again, it was Pedro Oliveira in that Mattel, just having a look up the inside of the much bigger, more unwieldy Radical of Miles Drew, but he was yet to be able to find a way through. Behind them, Andrew Gorge, we just saw a brief shot of in 8th place, 9th place I should say, number 60, more or less running on his own.
Back through Church Corner we go, and this time Miles Drew looking in the mirrors perhaps more than he's looking out in front of him, because Pedro Oliveira is getting closer. Doug Carter couldn't get a lot closer really to Andrew Fido. Again, just trying to get to the inside at Rocket, but Fido covers that one off nicely. Side by side behind, Oliveira around the outside at Rocket in. That could have given him the inside line for Rocket out, but Miles Drew slammed the door in his face and keeps hold of the position. But I said at the start of the day that would be an action hotspot. It's already proving to be the case, but it's not easy to make the overtake up at Rocket. If you go in on the inside line, that puts you automatically on the outside for the second element of Rocket, and that is not really the place you want to be.
Leon Morel's just done another best lap of the race, a 1:06.088. He's gone on to lap 9. I think he'll have 2 more laps to go at the end of this to make it an 11-lap race. Given the dry conditions, getting an extra lap into what I calculated earlier, but he's now leading by more than 6 seconds over Phil Brown in second place. The other thing that's noteworthy is Jamie Keyville has really pulled away quite nicely from Andy Fido and Doug Carter. He's now about 5 seconds ahead of that battle. Of course, he was disputing the class lead with these two not so very long ago.
Back out of Church Corner, Doug Carter continuing to apply the pressure then, and behind Oliveira has a bit of a run on Drew as well. We'll focus on this battle first as they head for the top of the hill, and again Andrew Fido defending that inside line. See how much closer Larkham's getting now, and there is Oliveira. He did have a run, he did get alongside Miles Drew, and finally has he got that place back round the outside of Rocket. That's where he lost the position, remember, a number of laps ago, and he learned something from that, put himself on the outside line, and if he doesn't go off the road he'll have gained the place. But you're right, that Mattel not handling right, is it? And he's almost opened the door for Miles Drew to get back at him.
No, and a bit further up, Stephen Larkham, well, I was going to say he's almost closed on the next group, but then all of a sudden, then you've got Oliveira right on his tail as well. So we're almost going to get 5 cars here, aren't we? Battling over 4th position before the end of the race. Only about a lap and a half to go for our race leader, though, Leon Morel. He's already heading up to school for the 10th time in this race. But this is a great fight, a great advert for bike sports racing. Of course, these sort of sports prototype type cars with motorcycle engines in them, up to 1.5 litres. Quite often the Hayabusa engine, quite a few of them will be tuned by the likes of RLM, who prepare race engines for championships like this. Now here comes Oliveira in the Mattel, and he's got past Larkham. There's carrying a lot of speed up the hill. Doug Carter, he's going to try and go around the outside of him, but he's going to drive off the road in doing so, surely. Not quite, but it did kind of leave the way open for Larkham to find a way back through. He couldn't quite make that work, but so Oliveira's certainly pushing hard. He wants to make up every place that he can in this race, it seems. He's
driving with a lot of confidence for a man who doesn't seem to have a very happily handling car underneath him, shall we say. But it's certainly exciting to watch, and had top-end speed in abundance. Now again tries to get an overlap on Doug Carter heading down through the corkscrew, but I don't think he's quite been able to do it. Tucked up underneath the Radical PR6 as they come across the line to receive the last lap board. So one more lap of the 1.55 mile Anglesey Coastal Circuit to be completed. And here is your race leader, Leon Morel, 4.8 seconds up the road. Phil Brown in second position. Has not been able to live with his pace, and Leon Morel on course for a pretty comfortable race victory. Behind, though, anything but comfortable. All of these positions, Ian, still very much up for grabs.
Yeah, this is 4th overall, 2nd in Class A, being held by Andy Fido still. Leon Morel pushing on still. Here we're going to get a change, are we, for 4th? It's going to be Doug Carter to the outside line. You've got Pedro Oliveira trying to steam up on the inside as well. And Oliveira might sneak through on the inside. He's certainly got ahead of Carter. Can he go all the way around the outside? But for the win, it's Leon Morel who takes the victory here at Anglesey in the first race of the day for the Radical Bike Sports Championship. Phil Brown is second, but Andy, it's all going on for 4th.
Oliveira nearly off the road. Carter goes back through, so he had briefly got ahead of Doug Carter, but then threw it all away through Peel Corner. I think they're likely going to finish in the positions they were in a lap ago. Off the final turn they will come then. James Keevil has already claimed the victory in Class A. Fido, with 4th place overall, will claim 2nd, with Doug Carter in 3rd position in Class, 5th overall. Pedro Oliveira comes home in 6th, and Stephen Larkham 7th. But that was a very entertaining battle in the midfield.
It certainly was, wasn't it? It meant we didn't see an awful lot of what Leon Morel was doing, but he took a very deserving race win indeed by 3.7 seconds. He possibly slightly backed off towards the end of the race because Philip Brown did get that gap down a little bit in 2nd place, and Jamie Keevil, he finished 3rd. He was eventually 10 seconds ahead of that battle, so I think they were really slowing each other up as they were fighting for positions. Andy Fido coming out on top of that scrap, certainly, and it sets things up nicely for the 2nd bike sports race a little bit later on in the day. That's also a 25-minute encounter. That's also got a pit stop in it as well. So we look forward to that. Let's have a look, though, at the results of the first race of the day then. Leon Morel it was that took the win in his Radical SR3 RSX. He completed 11 laps in just over 12 minutes and 22 seconds. He finished 3.7 seconds ahead of number 11, Philip Brown, and 3rd overall and winning his class, Class A, number 19, James Keevil. 4th was number 12, Andy Fido. 5th was number 5, Doug Carter. And 6th was 57th, very hard charging and hard trying, Pedro Oliveira. 7th was number 93, Stephen Larkham. So the man that led the Class A Championship coming into this weekend, only 5th within that class today. Then it was Miles Drew, number 17, in 8th. Number 60, Andrew Gord, was 9th. Richard Hardy, number 66, rounded out the top 10, ahead of Laura Farrow and Ross Board, and they were our only 12 finishers. So another bike sports race to come a little bit later on in the day, and another 11 races still to come this afternoon here at Anglesey Circuit. We look forward to those great variety of cars that we have tin tops and sports cars as well. Let's head down though to Parc Ferme, where Kieran Mogg is ready to speak to our successful drivers at the end of the Radical Bike Sports race.
Yes, thanks very much, guys. Fantastic race to start the day and to start the weekend here in Anglesey. And we're with our class and overall winner, Leon Morel. Leon, you had to time that restart to perfection and you drove a really good race. How was it from your end?
Yeah, the car was fantastic. It was absolutely fantastic. The track's such a nice track to drive. Really enjoyed that. Obviously slightly tricky with restarts and stuff, but managed to get a good run out of Church on Phil. And there's just nothing you can do. It's such a long straight and you've got so many different options at the end. So I knew I'd got him somewhere on the brakes. And then just focused on building a gap. Once I got a gap, pulled the revs out of it, saved the engine, saved the tyres. Let's go again in race 2.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously you're currently the championship leader as well. And obviously with the pace that you've demonstrated in the first race, it's surely given the confidence for the second race.
Yeah, I mean, it's all thanks to the support crew I got around me. I've got my family and my friends, and the support from RJ Motorsport is absolutely second to none. I'm so lucky to have their help. Yeah, what can you do with the dream team and a good car? You can do results, can't you? So yeah, really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. Well, good luck for the later on to the race today.
Thank you very much.
Cheers, thank you very much. And we'll head to our other class winner, James Keeville. James, you had to do a bit of defending there, and then it was just a bit of pace management. How was it?
I can't hear you, sorry.
Sorry, I'll wait for you to get your helmet off, and we'll ask you again. Just getting the strap out of there, it always gets caught, that one. We haven't got enough time, unfortunately. We've got to do the class winners. Yeah, sorry about that. Right, so, yeah, interesting race. Obviously, a good restart and everything, and then you just had to defend a bit, but you managed to get the gap out.
Yeah, it was a bit of a treacherous start, so we avoided all that, luckily. Dropped behind Fido at the start, who was difficult to get past, but once I got past, I was able to gap him, and then it was just, yeah, sort of managing the gaps between second and fourth. Brake pedal went a bit long towards the end, so glad the race finished when it did. To be
Yeah,
honest.
definitely. And obviously with the race later on today, is there anything that you're kind of thinking you might change, or you're quite happy with how the car is, other than the brake pedal?
Going brilliantly, it's going well. Obviously, brake issue aside, tyres were good. Yeah, fingers crossed it doesn't rain.
Excellent. Well, fingers crossed. It is Wales. Anything could happen.
It is, yes, but it looks lovely at the moment. So yeah.
Don't jinx it.
Sorry, I will.
Cheers. Thank you very much. All right, we're back in just a second, going to an ad break, and we'll see you in just a minute or two.